to K-Stop Fuses K-Pop Podcast. Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Benjamin, and as always, I am joined by the G-Soul to my Zico, Tina Zoo.
Hello, welcome back after a 1 week vacation.
Yes, we took a vacation like normal people do.
We are pretty much all settled in our new office, and it's really exciting. We're recording in a new space, so I feel like hopefully we're not too echoey.
I was just noticing it when I just was like, it does feel a little echoey.
So we're playing a little bit of catch up, but thanks for bearing with us, and I hope you missed us. We have a great episode this week.
Yeah. Yes, you guys. Well, if you were around 2 weeks prior, I guess it would be 2 weeks prior at this point. We have a lot of awesome comments to get to, and we apologize if there's some that we don't hit up yet, just because there's a lot to catch up on. But some real quick comments came from, first off, Heather, who is at SUCC_MON, who responded to when we talked about Lee Hyori last episode. She said, I was laughing at Hey Tina on #KStop saying Hyori was whack for saying I use the next Hyori. But I totally agree with you, Tina. And I was like,
Thank you. Thanks, girl, for the cosign.
Yes, we do appreciate it. We always
to clarify, I don't think Hyori's whack. I love Hyori, but that comparison was the comment was a little whack.
Yes. And then this was an interesting comment that came from Andre Drew at VR Troopers 13. He hit me up on Twitter and with the #K said, how do you feel about Showa leaving AOA, and how do you think they'll do after losing their main vocalist, #KStop? And I think that that's been an interesting topic in general. Just they might have lost their main vocalist, but this group can still sing, and there's another, the second main vocalist, Yuna, she's a really great singer too. And I think you kind of, when you lose a member, you inevitably have to kind of rethink a couple things. And I think if anything, it'll just kind of be more interesting to see what kind of music they make next. I hope this doesn't mean the end of AOA personally, because I don't know. They don't have another girl group kind of in the lineup, or in the FNC doesn't have another girl group waiting in what's the word, the balcony or something in the whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
That phrase that
waiting in the
in the rings and the something like that.
Oh my god, now it's gonna bother me.
Right, sorry, I can't speak English today.
Waiting in the wings.
Waiting in the wings. Wings.
Balcony
yes,
was close, Jeff.
Balcony was
close.
Wings are like balcony. But yeah, so I think we're gonna see something from AOA, probably a more, I'm gonna guess, less vocally intense song next time. But I still think there's something to be seen from them. So I'm not so worried, because lots of times when these things happen to groups, they usually, when Girls' Generation lost Jessica, when FX lost Sully, when I don't know what else, but they usually do a really good job at making sure this comeback matters. So
yeah, definitely. I agree.
That's how I feel. And last but not least, we asked you guys, of course, what your favorite songs of the previous episode were. Like we said last week, we reviewed Lee Hyori's Black. We also reviewed BTS's Come Back Home and Hyze's Don't Know You. Coming in way in first place, with 97% of the votes, was BTS's Come Back Home.
Surprise.
So congrats, BTS.
I think I voted for them, I think.
I did too, yeah. Hyori got 2% and Hyze got 1%.
Oof.
I know. I really do love that Hyze
no
record.
one stands a chance against BTS.
I know. That's For all we know, there were millions of votes, and BTS just ended up with 97 anyway. But in any case, we have a great episode. Some stuff last week, some stuff from this week, and we just got so much fresh stuff, so much exciting stuff. So Tina, let's get right into it. Who is first on our list?
Well, we're playing a bit of catch up, right? So we gotta definitely kick it off with some Red Velvet.
Velvet.
Gosh, it feels so long ago that they released this.
I think it's because it was also on a Saturday, right after.
Oh yeah.
We did it, but I was still Personally, I was so excited for this Red Velvet.
Oh yeah, Jeff was definitely hyping this up at the office. Like on the first day that we came in, we were pitching news ideas and stuff.
Yeah, well, the teaser just sounded so good, and like just the melody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they did not, in my opinion, disappoint.
So the song is Red Flavor. The single is Red Flavor off the album The Red Summer.
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone knows I am not the biggest Red Velvet fan, right? I feel like all of their previous singles were either really annoying or just really
weird.
Yeah, just I don't know if I want to say it's not catchy enough, but I just didn't think it was edgy or nothing that I would go out of my way to listen to. But I hate to say it.
Don't hate it, Tita. Embrace it.
Red Flavor I really like. So when I first heard it, I was like, okay, this, it's actually decent, and I thought, wow, for once Red Velvet actually released something semi-decent that I don't want to shut off after, half a spin or something, because Rookie was like so bad. I hated it so much. It was annoying. It was just repetitive, right?
I have some new thoughts about Rookie, but I'll get to those later.
Okay. So, but yeah, Red Flavor. It's such a summer jam. It's so fun and cute, and just makes me want to get up and dance. It just made me really happy, honestly. And it wasn't, there wasn't like an annoying jingle to it.
Right.
It didn't sound gimmicky to me, which I appreciated, because I don't, for the most part, like one of the only gimmicky kind of songs that are perky and poppy that I do really like is G from Girls' Generation, which I actually hated back in the day when I first heard it.
Right. But you learned to love it.
But that like is now one of my like favorite bubbly pop songs. But that's a special case, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely tell that they went for a more public friendly mainstream sound. Songs like Rookie and songs like Russian Roulette, they're kind of a lot to take in, right? Like they're a little off. They're actually very offbeat.
Right. I mean, they are quirky, which I appreciate, but sometimes, I guess that's the risk you have to take with being quirky sonically,
Yeah.
I guess, so.
Well, and that's the thing, is like it's kind of like it's been I would say Red Velvet's still doing really well. They're still really popular, but they don't at least feel to me like they're on that same level yet of like, like Twice and whatnot. So I think they just really were like, we need to come with something,
right.
good. And, lots of time, I feel like we got a lot of comments about this, like who could be the new like summer queens or whatever, that now that Sistar's gone. And I feel like this is almost a play for that. Like them
this
trying
is
to
definitely
it's
an
just
ideal summer jam.
Right. And I think it's so, I don't know, I really love the melody, how it kind of keeps growing and building off itself in the chorus.
Yeah. And it didn't feel like the song dragged on. I thought the transitions were great. I loved the bridge. The rap breakdown, if I had to pick like my least ideal section of the song, I'd probably go with the rap breakdown.
Right.
But immediately after that, where they go back to the vocalizing, I thought that it was like, I think around the 2:30 mark. I thought that was great and like definitely made up for the rap.
is that when like Wendy starts like hitting the big notes and everything?
Yeah.
I love that.
And I was like, I love that there was what's the word? Some variety in there.
Yes, I 100% agree. Because Rookie, even though I listened to it recently and I was like, oh, there are some belts and vocal moments in here, it definitely doesn't feel like the same kind of moments that we have in this song. So I'm a big fan of that part. I love that they got to do that.
Did you like their use of fruit, even though I feel like fruit is such a, like, sometimes it can feel overplayed, right? Because like, oh, summer fruit, but I thought they did it in like a cute way, and it wasn't, and they used different graphics and animations, and it wasn't just like each girl represents one fruit and that's it, and it can get a little cliche. But I thought they did a good job of like obviously identifying each girl with a fruit, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like dominating because that can get so like tacky.
No, I agree. I was like, I thought that was them like putting in their kind of like weird spin on things when like the girls were like interviewing the fruits and whatnot and all those things. So I was kind of like, okay, here we go. So that was like my like interesting, like, or I was like, okay, so that's the weird part of this. But no, I thought it was like good. Sometimes it looked like a, you know, flavored water commercial, but most of the time
it definitely
it was good. And like what I like too is that, you know, everyone, if you're a Red Velvet fan, their fandom name is Revelove, which a lot of people say.
The what name?
It's called the fandom name.
Oh yeah, I've never actually said it out loud.
Velove, which I hear in Korean makes it almost sound like level up. And that's the name of the new reality show. So I was like, oh, interesting. I think it's kind of cute.
Okay, yeah, I made that one because they say the R's and the L's a little, you know,
is that what it is?
Yeah, so it ends up, phonetically, it can, like the L's and the R's can kind of interchange a little bit, I guess.
Oh, that's kind of cute. Okay. Yeah. Who would have thought?
Interesting.
But anyway, if you are a Love, you know that the girls all have like their own color or whatever that they specifically do. And even though like I think some of the colors were like matched up. Like I think Gary, who's purple, like was a purple grape. But like even Wendy, who was like
she was
an orange.
Yeah.
But there were all those graphics of like the orange with like the fruit that was blue. Even though that's her color. Her color is blue. Like there was just a lot of interesting like things where they're like, okay, we're not just doing this, you know, throwing this concept. Arbitrary. Or she's not just a blueberry. I mean, she could have been a blueberry or what other blue fruits are there? But for whatever reason, you know, they just like, I really like that there was clearly like thought put in it instead of, because fruits, things like, you know, fruits, rainbow colors, things like that, they can get very like, we've seen this before. You're just doing it to be whatever.
Yeah. No, I thought they really, you know, the art direction was executed well. I actually, if I had to pick a favorite, like fruit personality, I'd probably pick Irene. She was watermelon, right?
Yeah, right.
I thought I liked her.
Green and pink,
Yeah, I thought she worked that well.
Yeah. No.
I like the pineapple as well. Sulgi?
Solgi, she was, right, because she's yellow, so that works. Right. Yeah, and like, you know, I thought everyone was bringing it mostly visually too. Like they just like, I don't know, I feel like they've been kind of at least underrated in like how they've kind of been styled and everything. It's more been like sort of odd sort of looks, you know, like going once again for that quirky thing. But I think they really just brought it on all levels.
Wendy it was all very simple and like that's the way it's a carefree summer tune, right? You should look not too done up.
And I think it worked for them. They remind me a lot of their looks they did for like Dum Dum, which like was very subtle despite how weird that song was. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a really big fan of it, and I don't know if you listened to the EP at all, but you did. Whoa,
I actually love the EP.
Wow, Gina, we have a new Love up here. I'm just gonna keep saying it.
Do you like You Better Know? The second track?
That one grew on me.
I love that one.
That one's really nice. I love the melancholy, like electro R&B sort of feel of it, and it feels like you know, I love this idea. Well, we'll hopefully keep seeing how it shows. But I think this idea of summer is that, you know, they're like, oh, these are for like, it feels like a late summer night sort of jam.
Yes.
Or like,
no, I totally agree.
So I really love that. Yes. I loved Zoo personally.
Oh, that's the one I didn't really like.
Really?
I think that was the only one that felt a little out of, like if almost could have not fit the brand of the album.
Yeah. I mean, the tropical house stuff felt exotic, but then I could have done without the slightly cliche animal growls and songs. Yeah. But I did like the production a lot.
Did you say you like Mojito too?
Mojito's pretty good.
I thought that was cute.
It feels like a nice like summery driving song.
It is a good like kind of evening breeze while you're driving. Like the whole album really fit that vibe. Yeah, no. I'm very impressed.
Yes, I think and that's the thing is that they like really went for this concept or like it was a concept and then it was executed very well. Yes. So I think, you know, props to them. I think
and I also need to like include, I really appreciated that the video included like a house party because I feel like that's one element of the summer that is key.
Yeah.
And it's not just like sunbathing on the roof, you know? So
Right.
like they had kind of multiple aspects of what makes a summer
I love
you know,
that.
a summer.
Right.
So
I also
love
I also love that all the girls had like a drink, but
Yes.
Yuri, who's the youngest and not of legal age, had like
so they were mindful.
an SM like sponsored like energy drink.
That's
like
hilarious. I love that they were mindful. I guess that is very important over there.
right. But
not
I
to-
thought that was really cute and hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I keep listening to it. I think I literally forced whoever I was hanging out with on Saturday night to like be like, no, the song just came out. We need to listen
Whoever
to
was
it.
in the vicinity.
Yeah, I was like, just let me play it. And
Nobody was safe.
nobody was safe from me and my Red Velvet love.
So
Just
this,
gonna keep saying
I'm
it.
assuming this ranks very high on your Red Velvet singles list.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's their best in like a moment. I really do like Dum Dum, and I really liked Happiness, and I liked Ice Cream Cake, but I'd say it's probably top 3.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to yawn. That was not reflective of my feelings for the song. It is definitely my favorite Red Velvet release
Ooh, there they go.
so
No.
far.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to top this in the future, but challenge accepted, I'm sure, I think.
Well, no, and I think they're in an interesting place too, because I think they're very much. I remember when I interviewed them at South by Southwest, they said, we're not doing so much Red songs, Velvet songs, keeping it so separate. We're trying to mash it all together and make it more.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot more sense. You know, like stop trying so hard to deliver like one type of sound.
Right, because I think they're trying to say we're multi-genre, we're
Yeah.
dimensional, and I think this, and this song has kind of those old school, like a little bit of brassy, a little bit of R&B feel to it, maybe in the vocals and the production a little bit, and then it's obviously really upbeat and fun. So
I'm freezing. This room is freezing.
why is it so cold in this
I
office?
don't know. It's like hard for me to concentrate.
Oh my gosh,
so
do you want a
cold.
blanket, Tina? I have a blanket.
I don't want to leave and grab something. I can tough it out. I live in or my family lives in Minnesota. This is nothing.
Come on.
This is nothing.
Yeah, just keep telling yourself, think warm, red summer thoughts.
Yes, indeed.
But in any case,
Yes, let us know your thoughts on Red Velvet.
Yes,
Hashtag KStop on
Yes,
Twitter.
hashtag
I
KStop.
am at hey_Tina with 3 A's.
thank you for saying that. I am Jeff __ Benjamin on Twitter. And
Yes, hit us up with your thoughts.
Please do. Who's next on our list?
Let's switch to a boy group, and they've been.
Should we keep it still SM though? Should we maybe go to the other? Should we take a break from the SM artists?
Oh yeah, I was like, are they not SM? I'm like, everything I know is a lie.
No.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's
Just switch it up a
Let's switch
tiny
to a
bit.
boy.
A boy. He's still a boy.
A boy named Zico.
Yeah.
He is officially back with his solo EP called Television.
Yeah.
And we had talked about him previously when he released She's a Baby, which we
She's a
thought was really
Baby.
dope, super quirky, something we hadn't really seen before from Zico.
Yeah.
So he's back with a double title track release, one song called Artist and one song called Anti, featuring our favorite G.Soul.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Anti later, but I was like auntie, but the way he pronounced it was like auntie. So I was like,
It sounds a little auntie, yeah.
Auntie, yeah.
I'm not your auntie.
so yes, I was very excited because
Me too.
I think everyone pretty much appreciates Zico and his artistry. You can definitely see the artistry, on full display with Artist.
Yeah.
So Artist, I felt like was really kind of like prime Zico, right? It was very, very colorful, very in your face, very, pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
And
From the production to the video
yes,
to everything.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
I appreciate that he never half-asses anything,
No,
right? No
no.
matter what style of song he's putting
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna say it right off the bat that I love Artist. I think it's so catchy and bouncy and like feel good, and it's very kind of because he's very bravado-esque, right? He's very, this is me, I'm owning this. This is my time.
Right.
And I like that in this song, he's essentially encouraging everyone to take all of the art that's in their head and just throw it out there.
Yeah.
He's like, I love the line, and I guess this is like the signature line of the song, like, art feels so no, life's so short, but art is long.
Yeah, life is short. Art
yeah.
is long.
Yeah. So
I love that too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we almost got like an indicate kind of the EP overall, but I think, you know, this is off his television EP, and like that first track is really interesting. It's called Genius Behind the Scenes, which I'm like, ooh, Genius is like a big title to live up to.
Right.
But you know, he kind of I think like the first line is I put it all in the music, and like that's kind of really been because this guy's been working like nonstop. Like I just was thinking about like Zico technically debuted at solo in like 2014, but like he's been doing like nonstop, whether it's himself, production, rapping, singing, Block B, or, you know, whatever
he really
it might
has
be.
Been pretty much occupied all the time.
Yeah, and then this was kind of his moment to be like, this is what I do, or this is like why I do it, and here's an insight into my head.
Exactly.
And
he's
like,
this is definitely his most vulnerable project.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you know, at the same, I was reading a lot about it because I was really, really interested in kind of like what he was sort of getting at, and you know, and like on one hand, like there's so much he's like saying about, you know, he's wondering about his legacy, if he'll, you know, where his music and art will like live ultimately.
Right.
But then at the same time, I thought it was really interesting that like I was reading about on this review that I was reading that they said like a lot of the images and whatnot, it feels like it was like show the fact that it's called television, and like we're watching the video through this television that he opens it up on, or opens the video up on. It's like almost like this idea that like this is him letting us into this side of him, but there might be, it's only what he's showing us. Like there might be even more to it, which I thought was also like just really fascinating that this feels, like very vulnerable, very real, very like honest and whatnot. But you know, are we seeing the whole Zico? And that it made me kind of mess with me a little bit, because at first I'm like, oh my gosh, here he comes, like getting all deep with us, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if he's just, you know, oh, this is only like the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. You know, I thought it was all very well thought out, the concept. Something I really liked about the music video for Artist is how it pretty much embodies like what soul is, right? All from, you know, the scenes to, you know, just the vibe and the energy. I think everyone can agree that soul is an extremely energetic and vibrant city, whether it's the daytime or the nighttime. And I thought that he really captured that kind of, you know, that outdoor rooftop feeling in Seoul, and then at night, and then it translated well, you know, with the night scenes as well, where it's very like neon and bright, and everyone's just, you know, out to have a good time. And I just thought it was like a very edgy video.
But I think probably my favorite moment in that video was at the very, I think it's towards the very end, when he paints that last stripe on that tiger.
And I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I just love that idea that, like, you know, he was like, you know, and a tiger's stripes, every tiger has different stripes. So the fact that he was creating something that only exists in that one form, you know, I thought it was a really nice metaphor, really like interesting and awesome in that way.
Yeah, he's actually he's very multi-layered, and I think he wasn't, obviously it's a different artist, Block B, but like Block B, they, you know, it's hard for him to really showcase all of that when you know, you got to balance everyone's, you know, skill sets, of course. So.
Yeah, no, and I, you know, and that's even been seen by, you know, how many kinds of different songs he's released. I mean, how different is this song from She's a Baby to, you know, that ballad he did with Luna earlier to, you know, what's it called? I really, those like hip hop R&B pop songs that he does. I don't know. There's one I love that I can't remember its name.
Like, speaking to your point, Artists and She's a Baby, and I guess we can talk about Anti now. It all, despite the sonic differences, they all feel like they tie together really well for this album.
It does.
Yeah.
It all feels very together. And I don't know if it's maybe, if there's sort of this underlying feel of like, I feel like just R&B is such like a go-to word, but like there's this R&B funk feel to it, maybe a soul feel to it.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think Anti, whatever we call it, it's like it's not as interesting as like the other tracks production wise, but I still think there's like a lot to be said here, and more so with the concept actually.
Definitely, yeah. Like if artist is Zico trying to say throw your ideas out there and put all your energy into your art form, Auntie is almost like once your art form is out there and you find success with it, this is the other side of it, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
This is the other side of it. Like this is the darker side of it, where the more success you find, it's like the more you're almost inviting criticism. And something that really stuck out to me in one of the verses was, if you only see positive comments, you're past your prime. That means like you don't have haters anymore and you just don't matter. Essentially, like you, essentially haters, it equates to relevance, right? Relevance.
Yeah.
More or less.
Which is something we even like
say,
because
you gotta get people talking, right?
Right, of
and
course.
Like there's always gonna be someone who doesn't approve or appreciate your art,
of course. And and that's the thing too, is that like if your whatever it might be is only reaching people that will receive it positively, you're probably not reaching a lot of people.
I guess it's not always constructive criticism, but
no, exactly. And so I thought that I love that take on it, that he's putting that out there. And just the idea that he even took sort of the idea of anti-fans and anti-fans that we always hear about, and kind of like turned it into like this, metaphor for whatever it might be, a love song, talking to fans, talking to critics, whoever it might be. Right. It's an interesting idea to kind of flip that, something that's quite a part of that world, and then make it into this song of this
and
universal
to
song.
have G.Soul play like the counteract role, essentially the fans, or whether they want to call themselves antis or just the general public or something. Like he even said in his part, I'm not an anti, it's just fan mail or something. Or Zico rapped that in like the second verse, because it's just a matter of how you see it, right? They might not see themselves as an anti.
Right.
And G-Soul's like, why do I hate you so much? And it's just, it's a very, very interesting way to go about, telling that story.
Right. No, I think it's it was definitely like a cool concept in that way, for sure. And
just like visually it just like kind of like threw me off at some parts where the antis like the character had the mask on, and it was almost kind of like it like irked me a little. It was kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah, no, I actually had,
it was like demons haunting him.
Yeah, I had like a quite a I actually reacted to that that scene when he's like taking a bite of the rotten moldy apple, like with the worms coming out. Like you could expect something like that was going to happen, but like to see him actually just like go for it.
There was a lot of shock factor in this video that like made me physically like cringe or recoil in some parts, and not a lot of videos make me do that.
100%. That's exactly how I feel, especially not K-pop videos, where everything's sort of about mass appeal and brightness. But no, I mean it was fascinating. And I really liked I felt like there were a lot of like secret like hints towards what he's been dealing with in the video, like the girl running after the car and he's just walking past them.
Did you catch the line about where he included why would she date a delinquent? Obviously that was referencing Sohyung from AOA, right? Because I'm sure that's what a lot of the media was thinking, like, why would a sweet perfect looking girl like that want to be with this rapper who's like kind of all over the place and very like brash and outspoken and unapologetic. They seem to not be a good match,
right?
I mean, that's like another story whether or not they were a good match. Obviously their relationship did not last, but I'm sure he heard a lot of criticism from that and a lot of judgment.
No, I'm sure.
When it like really wasn't their place to say anything.
Of course not. No, I know. And I was wondering if that girl was kind of like, I wonder if maybe, that was supposed to represent her or something like that. The fact that, you know, there are all these like creepy scenes, you know, and like lots of like visual.
There's a lot of imagery and visuals that I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, like the creepy children, like
right.
and creepy people with their eyes,
like the burning things, and it's like, all right.
No, it's definitely
it's very
off-putting.
Intense.
But no, I just do think though overall, like it was a really, you know, awesome project, and I hope it gets a lot of attention.
I do too. I think it's doing well, like domestically.
I would
at
have
least,
to imagine.
I
saw it got like his best like chart, like charting in America. So
yeah, I love that. I love when artists like do kind of dual releases, and where you can see, you know, two different sides of them, and it's not just. And of course, everyone knows Zico is not a one-dimensional artist, so more or less this should have been what I expected. So. But I'm very, very impressed at that. The EP's dope. Like, y'all gotta listen to the EP.
Seriously.
Yeah. I think there's something on there for everyone. I think
so too. Yeah, and I do really like the intro track too. But yeah, no, there's so much cool stuff going on there. So I don't know. Zico's just.
Oh yeah, and then he has a song called "Fancy Child," obviously for his little collective called Fancy Child. So if you miss Dean, you'll at least hear a bit of Dean on Fancy Child.
Yeah, I knew there was another track I was forgetting, and yeah, the Fancy Child song. Yeah, and he even like references that in Artist, or I think he's like Fancy Child's doing well.
Yeah, like Fancy Child's blowing up. Like I got all this, you know, camera time. I'm everywhere. So yeah, he's staying busy.
He is staying busy, so I like it. I like it. Yeah, it looks like Artist is doing quite well. So good job. And last but not least, though, we have
this week's biggest release.
Yes, totally. Blowing up around the world. It's none other than the XO boys.
Ko Bop.
XO. With Shimmy Shimmy Ko Bop. Yeah, they are back. This is their fourth full-length album. It's been kind of long time coming. I feel like they were kind of, you know, putting it out there that, it's, you know, summer comeback, you know, things like that. But, you know, they weren't putting out any real hints until, like, they just sort of over-flooded everyone with, like, all these different teasers and everything. And everyone was like, what the heck is Ko Bop? And then, like, slowly but surely, it all kind of came together. And here we are now.
The album's name is called The War, correct?
The War. The fourth album, The War.
So intense.
It's very intense. But I don't know. Right off the bat, I feel like I could just kick it off and be like,
let us, because I know you like EXO more than I do. So
yes. And you know, you remember I loved those singles last time. From the last album.
We talked about
Monster and Lucky One.
Oh right.
And I loved those tracks. I mean, I still do love them. Like I think they're like great K-pop tracks. And Ko Bop, I think, is really it's good. Like it's like just once again, like it's just what I wanted. Like I wanted like big pop song, like something that was like interesting, and I had a feeling it was gonna have like a dark side to it, because I feel like a lot of EXO songs have that sort of darker tinge to them. But yeah, I think, you know, it starts off very tropical. It has like this reggae island vibe to it, but then it also has a really, really strong electronic side to it. Yeah. And I don't know how I can't just. I guess it literally came out this morning, so I'm still processing how I feel about the hard-hitting electronic parts.
Right, like electro reggae. They kind of just like made that whole sound up. I mean, I haven't really heard anything like that, I think, at least not in K-pop. Right.
No, which I think is like totally admirable and like really awesome and interesting that they did it. But I'm still like processing my feelings. Like the song starts out so strong, and like I really love like how it begins, and like already from the beginning I was like, okay, I'm in.
You know, when the beat drops though for the electronic part, that real like I was kind of shook. Like in
a good way.
I think that's my thing though with this song. I don't know if I like it.
That's how I'm feeling right now. Or
I'm like, it's more just the novelty of that. Like I haven't heard that kind of sound before, so I'm like, I think I mess with it.
You're like, I'm just shook.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just a little shook by it. But I will say that the choreography paired with it, where they kind of like do that shaking motion.
Yeah.
I really like that moment.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped.
I loved, just even like, getting like right into the visuals. Like, I love that they really went there with the choreography. I thought this was some of like
choreography was dope.
Most enjoyable choreography in like a moment for sure. And they look really together. They look like, well, that's the thing is that like a lot of fans were getting like very like on them for certain hairstyles and certain styling.
I was going to say styling we'll get into in a bit, because if there's any complaints on that end, I truly have some.
But I thought they looked really together. I actually like, I kind of like individually we'll see, but like we'll get into it, I'm sure. But like I thought like together, like I just really love the whole vibe that they were giving. Like I don't know, something about the colors and the way it all worked together and the way that they were all positioned and looked together.
Right, the spacing was great.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think spacing helps, and then. Obviously what they were wearing, were all the same general kind of palette style. I think they looked good in that sense in the video. What did you think of like the bridge?
The bridge. Is that when the hamburgers started coming out? Because I love that part.
I think so.
Or was it more?
Or like when like things started coming up in the air.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, it didn't stick out to me. Or
right.
was that the intent?
Yeah, I was gonna say like if anything, the chorus definitely overpowers other sections of the song,
which is what I wanted from them. To be honest, like I was like songs like Monster and like Lucky Ones and Growl, like those choruses are just like they're too good. Like that's like why EXO is like at the top of the game, because like they have choruses like that and it just like blows everything away. And that's exactly that's I'll actually say though, even on the verses and things like that, I really like how it moved from singing to rapping a lot. And I thought there was some really cool, especially with the rap guys. They really kind of brought this like really cool edge and this really cool rasp to it. And it's like, once again, those sort of darker tones, but it didn't feel like they were going for this gimmicky, dark, evil sort of thing. Like it was just like cool, and it very much worked with the sound and the feeling and the vibe of the track. And I just remember like Chanyeol in particular. Not only do I love his cotton candy hair, but he like just sounded really at home on that track, and like it sounded like it flowed really nicely.
I was actually about to ask you, because I'm not super familiar with each member's individually, their vocal talents. I was about to ask, was there anyone that really stood out to you in terms of like maybe they showed a color that you haven't
a color?
Color.
Oh gosh,
our favorite word.
Everyone's favorite word in K-pop.
Words that don't mean anything. They show anything that you were impressed by, or maybe
Yeah, I mean, I did really like his part. I thought Suho and Chen, like also Suho's the leader.
Was he the one with the open shirt and all the abs? The abs.
No, I don't think so. Wait, who was on it?
He was the one in the very front. He was in like blue, and his abs are all up in there.
Oh no, that's Kai. Kai like killed it. Kai's like the main dancer one.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he was dope. He like looked really good too.
He was
cute.
killing it. Yeah. Okay. Well, he was like the superstar of this video for sure. Like so that when I'm thinking about like those formations and how well they like looked on like the actual breakdowns and whatnot, Kai like stole the show for sure. But I remember like I remember Suho catching my eye a lot, especially when he kicks off. I think the second verse it is. Chen, I don't know why, I just kept noticing him and like noticing his like vocal moments too. And and not I don't know, like I mean I'm not gonna name every member, but like it's like I'd be like I loved everyone, but and it's interesting too, because this is their I guess first release without Lay, the Chinese member, so they came back with 8, even though I think he might have recorded. Do we know if he recorded on the album and just it won't be part of the promotions?
Oh, I don't know.
Do we have any idea? But yeah, it was like it was interesting to see like them as an 8, and but kind of like what I was saying is that it doesn't feel like anything's like missing or anything like that. Like they're still bringing it. There's still like a big a lot of exciting things going on vocally, rap wise. Visually and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, styling wise, I will say it was so tragic to me. The hair was just it was just so bad.
There were some not so great hair moments. Like well, it was so funny. Did you see this over I think maybe it was on Friday or Thursday or something? Allure, like our Allure magazine in like the US put out this article done by a writer I know. She's great, Devin Abelman. It was about how mullets are coming back into style in K-pop.
You know what? I think Brooke
Yeah.
actually told me or mentioned it to me.
Brooke.
And I just never got around to checking it out. And that's a very legit article to write because that style is unfortunately alive and well.
Well, we've seen it now in Zico. We've seen it in G-Dragon. Now we're seeing it in, I believe it was Baekhyun. Oh, did Dean really do it?
He had it.
Oh, boy. Baekhyun had one. Although Baekhyun's actually I very well might be mispronouncing that, so sorry. But his actually, it looks really good from the front, but then you see the side and the party in the back, and I just don't really like it.
Yeah, that's how it is with Dean, too. You don't really notice it until he turns, and then you're like, oh, God.
Oh, God. Yeah, but, so it looks like Lay wasn't in the production and promotion due to schedule conflicts. But, yeah, no, I think... yeah, so I thought that article was fascinating. But yeah, I do really like, just kind of like I really loved all like the greenery and the outdoor looks and like the very bright colors and like love that sort of vibrant palette, pastel-y palette they were giving out.
And I guess editing wise, the effects were cool. It didn't feel too out of place because some of the effects were just very random.
Yeah, the hamburgers.
But it was, because it was kind of like trippy. It was definitely trippy.
Yeah. But I love that. I love that part of it. I thought it was like, when the hamburgers started floating, I'm like, yes, bring them to me. Because then they're like sitting on a roof, and like hamburger land. And I'm like, I love this so much.
Right.
But yeah, how would you say, as someone who has been like a more casual EXO observer fan, where does this compare?
I guess this ranks higher.
Yeah.
I didn't really like Monster or
really?
that release and that whole thing in general. EXO it just never ever worked for me. I think with SM boy bands, they're very polarizing for me. SHINee is one of the only ones I've kind of consistently liked. Yeah, sure. Because they debuted, with a different sound that I liked. Yeah. And like Super Junior took me, like they're kind of hit or miss for me too. Like there was a period where Super Junior I did really like their releases. And like obviously like DBSK, TVXQ, that whatever you want to call them, they're like hit or miss as well. So EXO, I just never got on board with them. So my standards aren't too high. I think this is catchy, and I appreciate how the electro reggae sound is very new to me. Yeah. At least in a K-pop window sense. Yeah. I think they did a good job. I think it's a great release for what it is.
There you go.
In terms of whether I think it's the best release of the week, personally, no.
Who would be your favorite release of the week?
I'm actually going to go with Red Velvet.
Whoa. Throw in
I was going to say Zico, but I was like, in terms of what song I would listen to over and over again, the chances of that, it would definitely be Red Velvet in this instant. Like in mid-July.
In mid-July while Tina's cleaning her house.
Wow. Yeah. Don't shade me for my house cleaning
not
music.
Not shaming you.
This one is like elevated. It's not even like, I'm cleaning my apartment. I'm going to clean my apartment and then dance to it while I'm getting ready and then keep listening to it when I'm going out. So
no, I mean, in terms of how much I've played it, this would be my release of the week too, but I have to give shout out to Zico and EXO, and I really have to look more into the EXO concept because I feel like there's a lot of like interesting. I've been reading a lot of interesting fan theories about like the album cover is like a flower, but it's like a lot of people are saying like it's an exotic flower, like EXO.
Oh God!
Like so, I know there's a lot of things going on. Like I'm really curious about what the war more means or how this like. Explain, what does this say or what are they trying to say? So I feel like there's a lot more to get into it.
There's a lot more you can dive into.
Yeah, I've had time with Zico and Red Velvet. This just came out EXO, so
right. So maybe so your vote is also for Red Velvet?
I think so. I'll give it to my girls, my daughters.
Yay. Your daughters.
My dear daughters. Just kidding. Oh my God. Ew. All right. Moving on, we'll get to our charts section right now where we take a look at the top 5 K-pop songs on US iTunes right now. As you can guess, one group is particularly climbing up the charts very quickly. At number 5 this week is a album track from EXO's new album, The War, called Diamond. I have not had the chance to listen to. I've listened to like 3 songs or something. I listened to.
Wait, who is this?
This is EXO.
EXO,
The song's called Diamond, but it's interesting because like sometimes you just like the first couple tracks just do well, but this is number 5 on the track list. So
so it must be really good.
So
then.
it must be really good.
Okay.
Number 4, Blackpink, As If It's Your Last.
Okay. I
Still
still
up
jam
there.
to that.
Yeah, it's doing well. Number 3, BTS, Come Back Home.
Nice.
Still up there. Number 2 is The Eve by EXO. This is the opening track of the album. I think it's a little shorter than the others, but I can't remember if
it's
I
like
listened.
an intro track.
It's 2 minutes 56 seconds. Like
okay.
But I think it's a little shorter.
Okay.
But it's doing quite well. And then number 1 is of course Ko Bop.
No surprise there.
Yeah, I think it's already like top 100 on iTunes songs. It's coming up there. So as expected, EXO is coming hard.
Dope.
So congrats
to
EXO.
them.
Congrats to everyone.
I'm surprised Zico's not up there at all.
I mean, like
He
I
does
think,
well with international fans. I thought.
Yeah, I think the song. EXO's definitely taking over. Like his album's number 5 in terms of K-pop songs or K-pop albums.
Okay.
Anti is number 17 behind all the EXO stuff. So it's not doing terribly.
I guess that's also not the best timing.
No,
right?
the week. Well, and also if it was last week, I think he'd be doing a little better.
Yeah.
He was the second highest K-pop album, second highest K-pop selling album in America last week, right behind Red Velvet. So he's up there.
All right.
But before we sign off for today, we have, of course, our deep cut where we take a look at a topic that is sort of trending in the K-pop community, something that we've noticed, some controversy, something exciting, whatever it might be. So this one is not an ideal or not an awesome topic, but we are getting into it anyway. So Tina, help me fill in the blanks, like as I explained it. But basically, from what I understand, KARD, K-A-R-D, but they're just KARD now, I hear.
Wait, has anyone ever? Oh, you mean they removed the periods?
I think so.
Oh, okay. I was like, has anyone called them KARD?
I thought.
Okay.
I think the only reason I think I'm actually calling them that is because I tried on my Siri. I was like, Siri, play Oh Na Na by KARD, and like she had no idea what I was saying. I was like, play Oh Na Na by KARD,
Oh, really?
and then it worked. Yeah.
Oh, I guess like for things like Siri, they would read it as KARD
Yeah.
because technically it is separated.
Exactly.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Isn't that interesting? But in any case, so be careful when you're speaking to Siri about KARD.
Yes.
And their debut is coming out
I know.
tomorrow.
So
We're really
excited.
excited. Going to be a great episode next week. But they were on, I guess they've been doing, which is so interesting, some international touring, not only in America, but like in South America. And I don't know exactly when this was filmed or whatever, but they were on a really popular Brazilian TV show. And I remember seeing this was like trending on Twitter. I just thought maybe they got like a mention on this show, but no, they like actually went on the show and were like guests on the show and they performed. And unfortunately, there was a bit of some just overt racism in the actual show, which is kind of like, so we kind of wanted to talk about a little more about, if these situations or these opportunities are coming up, what are these issues that seem to keep happening, and how can we kind of like discuss it and get a little more into just kind of like the overall what does this say about wherever we're talking about. So Tina, do you want to that didn't make much sense, but
no, I'm still trying to figure out like how this like segment even like was really put together, and like who, like, I guess I don't really understand this variety show, so I don't know if he has full reign over you know, the script, like if the host, right, if he's like kind of just what's the word, improvising,
right. To me, so kind of like what we're referring to is that basically I can't remember if it was before or after the performance, but basically all four of them are standing on stage with this Brazilian host, and he is talking to it's a very bizarre, there's a lot going on in the show. A bunch of children come on in the middle of it, and then I was reading on a website, it said that the host's daughter is a really big fan of K-pop, and you know that's probably why Card got booked in the first place. But you know, basically he was kind of, he was kind of making things a little uncomfortable by kept asking the members if they were dating or not, or if they were going to date. And then, which is sort of like already a touchy topic when it comes to K-pop. And then he made this like very overtly racist, like, mention at one point where he said something about like, if you guys are going to have babies or something like that, you're going to need like, something about the eyes.
Right. So he said something. I think he was speaking to the audience, saying like, "Oh, are you going to marry them?" Because they were denying, dating rumors which of course that they're going to. So I think he was asking the audience,
yes,
you know, are you going to marry them? And then he followed up with a slanty eye gesture, saying, "Well, you have to stretch your eyes," or something like that. And
awful.
You know, I think everyone knows that universally, like that is not, that's a very inappropriate gesture.
Yes.
We're referring to Asian people, but what I find like really fascinating is that in many parts of the world, that gesture is actually seen as like, what's the word? Like you're embracing Asians. It's almost like they don't see it as extremely offensive. They see it as in, we are like, this is me like reaching out to you, being like,
really,
because this. So I immediately thought of if you remember, I think it was it's what Olympics was this? We had Olympics in 2016, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 2012 when the Spanish basketball team they did a team portrait where they all made the slanty eyes gesture.
Really?
And I think that was the year where like China's basketball team was doing really well, and like no, it was 08. I'm stupid. It's 08 because it was in Beijing. Yeah, that makes sense. I was like, what the fuck? So they did a portrait, and of course it was a complete shitstorm. All of the Asian American, you know, committees and, you know, societies in the U.S. were just like up in arms, like, this is so offensive. You have to, you know, address it. And then the Spanish team, their logic was like, oh, we thought this was something endearing. And it just blows my mind that, you know, in places like Europe and South America, where there is a pretty big K-pop presence and audience, especially in Brazil's K-pop, you know, demand is very high.
Right.
So you would assume that they would not be stupid enough to go out of their way to be offensive, right? Which is, that has to be the only reasoning that they thought that was okay, that they didn't realize that it was not okay.
Yeah.
Which is just so mind-boggling to me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's definitely, you definitely need to put yourself in a different mindset, right? Or, you know, I actually didn't know any of that, so thanks for that. I just
like totally forgot that happened. But yeah, it definitely, I think it's generally the same sentiment. Of course, it's not an excuse. I'm just really trying to wrap my head around how this could possibly happen on like national television. But of course, their national television, their national conversation surrounding like Asian American, you know, slurs and shit like that is like, it's not, it doesn't really exist.
No. Right. And I think, you know, something to like, you know, keep in mind is that like this host, he looks like an older gentleman.
Oh, he's definitely of the older generation.
Right.
So.
You know, that not that, once again, not that it's an excuse, but again, you know, that I'm going to flip it on its head a little bit and be like, Korea has had a lot of instances of like blackface and things like that, right? So, and lots of times, I mean, it does happen with the younger generation too, but like, you know, especially with like, we saw it so much more in the past, and like, you know, things like, it's just like, if you didn't know, or like, why would he, you know, if he was actually like actively racist and whatnot, like, you know, I feel like it was just, why would he have them on their show, and why would he be embracing them and trying to have fun with them? It feels like this was his weird improvised way of trying to like make a way, like be funny on camera, and it was, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't ever be like written into the script or like, but you know, and it's just really unfortunate too, because at the same time, you know, it's not like these promoters or whoever booked them on the show or whatever, like, you know, on card side can be like, oh, and don't do anything like racist or something like that. You know, like how could you even like, there's so much cultural differences, which I mean is kind of been so fascinating, at least for me to watch, is, you know, keep seeing, you know, K-pop hitting these new international, you know, peak points and whatnot. So it's like, it's very unfortunate. It's very like heartbreaking to see that too, because you know that like Twitter and you know, things, people online are going to be very sensitive and very, you know, hurt by it. And I'm not, and that's important too. But at the same time, there's so much that goes into this, right? Like even that story you were just saying about like what happened like at the Olympics, people were up in arms about it, but maybe they were using this as a way to, you know, make people feel comfortable or whatever, and you know,
and I think that's what it was. They honestly thought that this was like a genuine gesture of like, of like camaraderie, or I don't even know what the hell.
Like if someone like came up to me and was like, oh, I'm wearing a yellow Jewish star, like to make you feel better as a Jewish person, like I could be like, oh my gosh, you're being offensive. But if I knew that they didn't know any better, you know, like how could I don't know. It's like you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes. Granted though, I think the situation's a little different, given that
it's definitely,
he was making a joke. He was definitely looking for laughs, you know?
Like but I think with this particular incident is like, it has to deal with a physical trait, right? Like I think it's a little bit different from wearing, you know, like a Jewish star, because it's not something that's a physical, it's not something that you were born with. It's a physical trait that you can easily identify someone with. And like same thing with like blackface, right? Like in, you know, in Asia, and then, you know, in this instance, you know, or in this specific situation, Korea, blackface is like we said earlier, it comes up, you know, more often than it should. But we would hope that it is not out of malice, right? And hatred to do things like that, and it really is out of pure ignorance. It's just a matter of like how, now that K-pop is expanding so much internationally, like things like this are going to happen. And because K-pop is also fusing, you know, so many different genres, and like working with, you know, people from all different countries of all different backgrounds, like they also have to be, the K-pop artists themselves have to be mindful of, you know, how they are appropriating culture, you know, at times. So yeah, it's just, I feel like we've talked about this type of thing too many times on K-Stop.
I know, but strangely it just keeps coming up.
Yeah, but it is, you know, interesting to discuss it on, you know, the other end as well, when the K-pop artists are, you know, are victims of, you know,
and you know, I always see a lot of fans get really like sensitive about being like, oh, I don't want this group to perform on TV because, you know, there might be racist comments, or they might get hurt from the comments. And I'm like, you know, like kind of like just we were saying with like Zico and whatnot, like the more haters and criticism and all those things that you have, it means just more people are talking about you ultimately. And it's a little scary, that like, you know, Card was on this really popular Brazilian show. From what I understand, it's quite popular. And that's an awesome opportunity. Brazil is a huge music market, especially it seems like they could be very well received there, given their sound, given their look, whatnot. But the fact that, you know, they kind of had this unfortunate incident is definitely upsetting and scary to fans, and I 100% understand where that mindset comes from. And it's
But you know what?
where was I going with it?
I think this, the fact that this did gain traction as a story, if anything, we can only hope that it just puts the conversation out there.
Yeah.
I think just like because K-pop artists probably just don't go on Brazilian shows that often, the conversation just wasn't really ever there. So
maybe this can only lead to better things. Yeah.
I would hope so.
Or more open out conversations. This report that I'm reading, it's not like the most clear report. I'm not like totally understanding like some of the things they wrote about. But from what I understand, it's basically like, the host, did some things that a lot of people would say are very stereotypically Asian, with the way he was speaking, with the slanted eyes and things like that. But I feel like we're both saying it doesn't seem like it was out of malice per se. It feels like the general thing I'm pulling from this conversation is that it's simply a lack of knowledge and education, and like these kind of cultural, missteps that seem to keep happening with K-pop,
right?
But ultimately perhaps can keep leading to better things.
Yeah.
That's what that would be my goal, at least. To kind of to get everyone kind of on this. And I see things like NCT and all those things kind of, hopefully leveling these playing fields of this idea that, that's SM's whole thing, right? Is that they want to localize K-pop. They keep teasing this Latin American unit, like if you can and make it part of the overall conversation, maybe then these kind of moments won't totally happen.
Yeah,
I don't know. You don't seem very hopeful, but maybe I'm just too optimistic.
It's such a larger conversation.
It definitely is. It's an older generation too. I saw a lot of the comments when I was reading more about this story were saying elderly TV show hosts, this happens all the time. And no one's going to say anything because they are going to say you don't have a sense of humor. I feel like as this world kind of becomes more accepting and more culturally diverse, things inevitably get better,
As those people leave this earth. No.
Oh my God, I didn't mean it like that.
No, I know what you mean. But I also wonder how KARD, the members themselves eventually, process that, because it was also in Spanish. So I don't know if they even fully realized what was happening.
I do. I wonder that too. Well, Portuguese.
But I'm sure, Portuguese, my bad. Sorry. But I'm sure, they've caught wind of the story themselves, since they are very connected on social media.
Yeah. So I hope, it's kind of this idea that, okay, I would actually be really interested I would love to talk to them about it or see kind of what happens with it. But
aren't they performing at KCON?
You're going to be at KCON LA.
Yeah,
hopefully we'll get to talk to them.
LA got all the best acts this year.
They got some great acts.
A lot of great
and
acts.
KARD's going to be here
so excited.
in September in New York in September. They're coming back for another U.S. tour. So it's good things are happening for KARD. We're sorry for this, misstep, KARD, but we're rooting for you.
Yeah, indeed. Can't wait to talk about them next week.
Yeah, hopefully Brazil is rooting for them too. Hola.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let us know what you guys think about this. We've kind of unpacked a lot of things. I feel like I was motor mouthing a ton this episode, and so I apologize if I started ranting.
You were great, Jeff. You were great.
But please let us know what you guys feel about these. Is there any of the songs we talked about, any songs we didn't talk about that you guys want to suggest to us? Please send us comments. #KStop. Leave them on Fuse.tv. Vote on your favorite release of the week. Listen to all the music we talked to on our playlist. I think that's about everything. Listen to Stitcher, iTunes. It's all over the place.
Yes.
So as always, this has been Jeff Benjamin.
And this is Tina. Thank you for tuning in.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.